Okay, Derek here with a tutorial on the Muppet Show theme. I'm going to play it through first, and then I'm going to talk about some of the tricky spots. It's time to play the music. It's time to light the lights. It's time to meet the Muppets on the Muppet Show tonight. It's time to put on makeup. It's time to dress up right. It's time to raise the curtain on the Muppet Show tonight. Why do we always come here? I guess we'll never know. It's like a kind of torture to have to watch a show. And now let's get things started. Why don't they get things started? It's time to get things started on the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, Muppetational. This is what we call the Muppet Show. Okay, there we are. That's the whole thing. So this is actually going out to Devin Scott. If you don't know who Devin Scott ukulele is, go look him up. Go listen to some of his stuff. He's an excellent performer and a pretty darn cool guy all around. So let me talk about, this is a big song. This is not a beginner song. So let me walk through some of the things I'm doing and maybe try to illuminate those. And of course you can always hit your pause button or rewind and go back and look at the performance bit to see how it fits in. So it starts off, I'll put all of this up on Dropbox so you can see the notes I'm looking at right now. Starts out with just a bit of an intro. And then there's a big reach up here. Song goes up the neck. This is a 7-7-7-10. This is just another C chord. No, it's not. A G chord, but it's way up top. And with that call, it just goes into this bass line bit. Wherever that is. And this is kind of neat because it sets the tempo, and you can kind of hit it with your hand. And it looks like I've got a mistake in the notes. That's a 3, that's a G right there. So it kind of sets the whole percussive bit, and then the chords pick up right on top of that, right? And you can go ahead and continue to pick out that bass line as you lay those chords over it. So another thing that happens here is a point of interest in the song is you've got kind of the women Muppets and the men Muppets, if there are such things. So they're going back and forth. So one of the things I'm doing here is with the higher voice, if you've got, I've got just barely not quite enough range to do this, but if you can go up top with kind of the women's section, you know, it's time to play the music, and then when you get to kind of that repeat, it's the men in an echo, it's time to put on makeup, it's time to dress up right, and you can just think of Waldorf and Statler up in the balcony making a big joke of the whole thing, right? And this is their part in the middle. This is a series of kind of descending lines, and you got to watch this. I would definitely say study this, look at it, maybe even before you pick up your ukulele, and then run through these very deliberately and slowly. F minor C. It's kind of like that all the way through, but there are variations. So F, F minor C, and then F, E7, where'd that come from? A minor, then F, F minor. Sounds like it's going to be the same thing, but it goes to this A7 to set up D7 and the G7. And then if you want to sting it, you can go up to a higher G7, which is a 5-7-5. Just pop that on top if you can fit it in there. And then it goes back to the bass riff. And it feels like it's going to go, you know, first chorus, first chorus, first chorus, like everything else. But the fact is, this is a TV theme show. We got to get all done in a really short period of time. So it sets that bass riff up in about the time you think it's just going to repeat. It launches into the end. And now let's get things started. Why don't they get things started? It's time to get things started. Okay, now we're going to go for the big finish. Again, a section that's worth looking at the chords, then finding the chords on your ukulele, and then very separately, probably walking through the words here, and being able to sing those separately. They're a little bit dense, right? Most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, Muppet stational, something like that. This is what we call the Muppet Show. So this is another section that goes up the neck a bit. And when you find it, when you can pull it off, I think it just sounds wonderful. Most sensational, D9 inspirational, celebrational, Muppet stational. This is what we call the Muppet Show. And that's just a really high C, right? You've got C. There's that C, and then there's all the way up the neck. Oh, that sounds wonderful on the ukulele, right? You finally got that range of notes. You've got a chord that's actually spread out. Most of the chords on a ukulele are so clumped. And then if you remember the show, Gonzo always pops out of somewhere with an instrument and tries to add a note, and it sounds really terrible. So something I fool with sometimes is putting a bend note like a D right here works at the end. Anyhow, that is the Muppet Show theme. I love this song. It always seems to get a response and a comment. It's short, it's high energy, and people recognize it. So I think it's a great one to draw in your audience. There's actually, I'm going to post this on YouTube. Actually, many years ago, when I wasn't quite up to it, I made a video of this on a banjo uke, and that works extremely well because it's a very percussive instrument, and that fits this song quite well. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up. Again, thank you for the inspiration, Devin. I hope you can make this work, or maybe some other people out there can find a way to make this work. And I'd love to see other people performing it as well. Thanks. Keep strumming.